How do we look?
Oh,
What are we doing?
what do I do with these? Hey everyone, welcome back to Chicken Cindy's. I got Rich from Griffin Bike Park.
Hey guys.
Today we're talking about helmets. All right, so one of the biggest and most important parts of mountain biking would be a brain bucket.
Brain bucket for sure.
I would say a brain bucket. There's obviously a bunch of different styles of helmets, and kind of what we're going to talk about today is the different uses for different helmets and what helmets we kind of recommend. So, what do we want to start with? Which type of helmet?
Let's start with cross-country helmets.
Okay.
Probably the most common helmet you're going to find. Easiest to find in your bike shops, in your local department stores.
There it is. So, I'm a big fan of convertible helmets. That's why I'm able to take the jaw off. But, how about that?
Nice.
So, would you consider this more of a cross-country style?
Yes.
Okay.
Doesn't have the face mask. Plenty of vents for cooling. It's got the motion impact on the inside.
So, this one is actually not MIPS. MIPS is a different style, but I'm trying to remember what this one's called. It is the... I'll have to look it up. Because the Elites have a different style. 360? I'll look at it in a minute and I'll post it. But, so, like, MIPS is basically a form of, like... How would you explain it? Like, it makes the helmet move, like in layman's term.
Yep.
So, like, if you get into a crash, the helmet doesn't just stay stationary. It'll actually, like, twist and kind of conform to, like, whatever you're hitting your head on, basically. So, I think, personally, helmets with the MIPS style system is a must.
Yes. It's a shock absorber for your head.
Okay, yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
And for me, a lot of times the price difference is very negligible.
Yes.
Like typically like 10, 15, 20 bucks tops when you're comparing like a style of helmet with MIPS or without MIPS. And if you're going to be buying a helmet to protect your head, which has a very vital organ in it, why wouldn't you want to spend the extra money for that?
Absolutely.
So that's my personal opinion. Something Rich pointed out, which I never really paid much attention to it like when I first started, but the vent holes, especially when it's like 100 degrees outside because of Illinois and Indiana weather is just terrific year round.
We ran into this at Brown County.
Oh my, oh yeah, it was,
90 plus degrees.
it was not a fun day.
Was way up.
But it makes a huge difference. And even color of helmet, like this one's black, but a helmet that I wear a lot is actually white. And it makes a big difference just for like the color because of the heat absorption and stuff. So I would say this is probably the style helmet that I wear 90% of the time.
Yep, myself as well.
So, cross-country style helmet. And basically, the majority of normal riding is what you'd wear this for. Like green, blue trails, nothing super crazy or technical.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
So, going from this helmet, where do we want to go to next?
Let's put your face mask back on.
Okay. So, as mentioned, mine is a convertible, okay? I like these primarily because of the fact it's a 2-for-1 deal. I can kind of take this wherever I want to take it and be set up. I can take this on our bike trips. Let's say we're just doing some easy trails. Then I don't have to worry about bringing more than one helmet. But also if we end up going to like an indoor bike park like Ray's, or if we go to a downhill, this helmet isn't technically downhill rated. So that is something to keep in mind, which we'll get into a downhill helmet here in a little bit. But just having the extra protection on your jaw, I think if you're going fast, going downhill, rocky terrain, bigger jumps is a must. So being able to have an option for that is terrific for me. And that's why I do like convertible helmets, because it's just kind of a 2-for-1. So,
man, I just prefer a separate helmet for each discipline. I do a regular helmet like we showed, and then I wear the Fox Pro frame. It's one piece, but this one has taken a hit. We were riding Ray's indoor a year ago.
This one was out. I was not for this one.
This was indoors.
Yeah.
I overjumped a jump and bounced, and you can see I landed face first into an I-beam. Helmet took all the brunt of it. I ended up with a minor concussion. The MIPS worked on the inside, and it actually hit the face mask. I switched to a full face helmet, jumping when my arms wouldn't hold me any longer. I fell on something very simple, very easy, and my chin touched the ground, and that was when I decided I'm going full face. They aren't that much more expensive. This one's super light. You would be really shocked at how light this one and Josh's as well are.
Actually, here. And that is something to keep in mind, especially because, let's weigh them real quick, especially because when we go to weigh the downhill helmet, I think you'll notice a pretty significant difference. So if we just kind of throw this on it, is this not going to add much weight? Did that number stop?
1.89.
So here. So that is the weight of that helmet. And then we'll do, mine will probably be pretty close to that. So let me do your, and we'll talk about this one here in just a minute. But just kind of out of curiosity, if I can hook it on, here we go, I'll just use your strap.
Yep.
So a downhill is 2.6. So what, almost it's like 0.7 pounds,
Yep.
almost a pound more.
Almost a
But
pound more.
there's a reason for that, and we'll get into that reason here in just a minute. But yeah, so these, I would say, are primarily for like any form of non-extreme downhill. Is that fair to say?
Yep.
I think these are good options for like decent downhill, like far side,
Yep, far
pretty
side,
mellow
right.
trails, nothing super crazy.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be safe, you know. Hopefully you don't get into a crash, but if you do, this will do its job. This one, like I said, has the MIPS. That's not the real MIPS, but it is still a form of MIPS. And it's gonna protect your head really well. I just noticed this. I don't think we've talked about this.
No.
So, a lot of helmets have these little dials in the back, and they're actually adjust, kind of like to fit the back of your basilar skull to help fit that better, which I think those are terrific as well.
Yes, those are great.
Not a lot of helmets, not a lot don't come with them anymore, in
Right.
my opinion. It seems like most helmets have those. So I don't really recommend buying helmets off the internet just because
It's hard to get the sizing. You
Yes.
never know what fits and what
so, and I mean, a lot of places online, they're really good about returns and stuff. But like, if you're needing a helmet for a downhill park or something, you're not going to want to have to return it because of that. So if you have a local bike shop, or even a lot of times, if you're going to that place, they'll have a bike shop pretty local where you can try helmets on, which our bud Quentin, whenever we went to Farside,
Yep.
he bought a downhill, he bought a helmet there.
bought a helmet
He
there.
got a Fox Pro Frame, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, so, and also fun fact, because of Rich's experience with the Fox Pro Frame specifically, do you recommend these helmets?
I do. I have a new one. I bought a Pro Frame. This one was purchased at Ray's Indoor, where I broke it. The next one came from my local bike shop because we knew what size I needed. And the new Pro Frames have the dial adjuster on the back as well.
So that one, how old is that one?
This one is 2 years old.
Okay, so, and I just got this helmet, geez, 2 months ago?
Yep.
So the helmet I had before this was also a convertible styled helmet. And actually my ratchet broke. And we'd been struggling with it. He'd been telling me to get a new helmet for like almost a year, I would say.
Yeah.
So I finally pulled the trigger, but typically I could get it to work. And last time at Farside, it finally just broke. So I went online and found this one and really liked this one and snagged it. So, all right, cool. So we talked about cross-country style, like more cross-country downhill full face style. So let's get into the downhill helmet now.
So this is a full-on downhill helmet made by 100%.
This thing is bulky. It is a
bulky.
beast.
It is. It's a heavy helmet. It's quite used. Let's see if you can figure that out. You got a quick release
I
now.
just cheated. This one has a little quick release on it too. But honestly, what it makes me think of is like back in the day when you play flag football. That's kind of what it is. So
That's why I added the quick release.
it's like, oh, you added that?
Yeah, I did.
That's pretty slick. But this doesn't have an adjuster. So this is one that like, see, your head's about as big as mine.
Yep.
But this like fits and feels really good.
Yeah. It's nice
Like,
and snug
it's
on your cheeks.
not moving anywhere.
Yeah, it's a heavy duty helmet. Not as much ventilation as you saw in the other helmets. You've got a couple vents up here in the front and then some on the sides, and that's it.
Got a vent there, as he mentioned, a couple in the front, which I'd imagine helps a little bit with ventilation, but
It does, but this was intended for when you take the big hits.
yep.
You really don't want to take them, you know, but you got to be prepared just in case it happens. And this is what this helmet's for.
So Windrock,
Windrock.
100% Windrock.
Definitely Windrock. I would ride it at Shepherd Mountain on their
Oh, for sure.
Black Diamond trails.
Yep. Shepherd is, for being in Missouri, is much more rocky than like you would expect, in my opinion. Like it's very rocky, and honestly, the black trails are very technical. And that's when, like, for me, like when I start seeing technical and rock, that's when I get the jaw. That's when I'm like, all right. A lot of stuff I'm typically, if it's just like flowy dirt trails, I'm typically pretty comfortable with the cross country helmet and not putting the jaw on, so I'm okay with it. But a very, very important thing to note, in my opinion, is this: if you want to wear this all the time,
Wear it.
wear it all the time. Who cares what other people think about how you look or what you wear or why you choose what you choose? But at the end of the day, I mean, if you're going to wear this everywhere you ride because it's a downhill helmet and you want protection, sweet. By all means, do it.
It's your head. Remember
yes, and especially like if you have a wife and kids, you know, this is stuff you want to keep in mind and take care of, especially because dental bills,
Yep.
they're not cheap.
No, they're not cheap at all.
So awesome. So kind of like Big Betty here.
Yep.
This is like cream of the crop, best protection, what you're going to want to wear if you're going just extreme Red Bull Rampage jazz, right?
Yep, for sure.
And I don't know, like, for you specifically, but I know how you really like the Fox Pro frames because of what you went through and experienced and how it pretty much saved your head.
It did.
So I know this is a 100%. This is Elite. Hopefully I'm saying that right. That's, yeah, L-E-A-T-T,
I think so,
Elite.
yeah.
Elite. And the one I had before this was a Bell. It was a Bell Super, which I loved. And then, would you grab the Fox again real quick?
Yep.
And then, so, cracked up Fox. So, tons of options in helmets.
Yes, absolutely.
And
every bike manufacturer makes their own brand of helmet.
yeah. And I'm trying to think of the brand I have out in the truck right now. I wish I could think of it, but I can't off the top of my head. It is a Smith. Thank you. It's a Smith. So I have a Smith out in the truck. And I'm not like personally tied to any one brand. What I look at are reviews. And honestly, like when I bought that Smith, it was like half off. And it had good reviews. And I mean, I knew I would wear it a lot.
Yeah.
So the Smith is what I keep in my truck at all times. So I always have a helmet. Speaking of that, another good point to touch on is like, let's look at Griffin Bike Park specifically. If you are riding a mountain bike at Griffin Bike Park and you happen to see someone there without a helmet,
Yes.
what is a rule at Griffin Bike Park?
The rule at Griffin Bike Park is we recommend you wear a helmet.
Okay.
And we recommend it highly. We recommend it so highly that we have helmets up at my office in the front. There's a set of lockers and there's helmets in there that you can borrow, you can take home, whatever you want to do with them.
Yep. And there have been a handful of times where like I've been out on the trails and I've seen people without helmets.
Yep.
And your life, your choice, of course. Never going to tell you what to do again. If you want to wear this all the time, by all means wear that all the time. If you don't want to wear a helmet, just know that there is a great risk
It's a big risk.
of, and this isn't like a simple injury.
No.
This could be like brain bleed, life-altering injury, even on something simple.
Yes, because when I crashed at Ray's, we were on the beginner line. We were horsing around on a beginner line.
It was the green loop, right?
It was.
Yeah,
and
so.
I overjumped and landed flat, and that's all it took.
And even someone with how many years of experience?
Almost 40.
Yeah, that's a little bit of experience because we're not perfect.
Nope.
Humans make errors. Humans, you know, when you get adrenaline going and stuff. So I would say for me, one of the most number one recommended things to buy if you get a mountain bike is a
good helmet.
good helmet.
Get a good helmet.
So if you have any questions over helmets, always feel free to reach out to Rich if you're around Griffin Bike Park. Your schedule's a little wonky, but typically you're there.
About every day.
Yeah, most of the time he's there. So,
And you can reach me on the Facebook.
and but no, keep an eye out for sales, especially with Christmas right around the corner. If you have a loved one who is starting to bike or wanting to bike, buy him a helmet. Another thing to keep in mind is, since it's almost Christmas again, sales. All kinds of crazy sales. I think I got this one half off as well.
Yep.
Like, I love a good deal. And again, I'm not tied to any one specific brand when it comes to helmets, but a helmet is something you want and something you need.
There's nothing wrong with last year's model.
Absolutely not, especially when it's 50 to 60% off. But no, like I said, if you guys have any questions over helmets, we kind of tried to touch base on why we choose, and what we wear for what. Hopefully that made sense. But no, put it down in the comments if you have any questions. I think this is blocking your face, Rich. No, we're good. But no, helmets, like I said, highly recommend them. Any questions, put them down in the comments. But thank you everyone for tuning in, and take care. Until next time.
See ya.